What's good, y'all? I've got some really nice buffs for Articuno. Before I get into any of the stuff, I do want to have a quick disclaimer for any new viewers. As you can see, there's quite a few new moves, new abilities, ice type chart changes, and all types of other crazy and interesting stuff that I highly encourage you to check out in the description below. The most important reason I'm encouraging you to do that is because I have buffed and changed over 600 moves in this hack. Also, I don't know, quick little aside, I don't know why this music is making me talk so quietly, but it is. So a little bit of a chiller video. I like this music. But yeah, as you can see on screen, there is a giant list of all of these move buffs and changes. It took me a lot of time and effort to organize all these into these different categories. So please do give that a look. They're really important to understand how all the Pokemon function now. You can't just like ignore the move buffs when you're considering these Pokemon buffs. Also, the power levels in this ROM hack are much higher. Well, not that this one in particular is like super overpowered. It's just a little disclaimer for people to just keep that in mind while you're looking at all the buffs and changes. But yeah, Articuno has some awesome new tools to work with. It has Snowboarding and Guarding Gale. All three of the legendary birds have the ability Guarding Gale, and this functions like Delta Stream. So what that means is Articuno loses all of the weaknesses that come with its flying typing. Another beautiful thing that you don't have to worry about is Stealth Rocks in game. This is a ROM hack. AI does not know how to abuse entry hazards properly, or at least it doesn't know how to abuse spikes and Stealth Rock properly, because they can't like properly pressure you. Maybe like one or two gimmicky boss fights will use it, but it's not like an every battle type thing. Meanwhile, in competitive, which again is not what this hack is balanced around, you have to worry about entry hazards every fight because it's a huge deal. It's pretty much how the entirety of singles is played. But in game, you don't have to worry about that. So that's great for all Pokemon weak to rock. Especially Articuno, who is no longer held back by that rock's weakness. It's not a factor. Another beautiful thing for ice types in this hack is that they are straight up buffed. So ice now resists ground, flying, and dragon, as well as ice. So for Articuno, he's already immune to ground, but this means that Articuno now resists flying and dragon, which is awesome. So if you go to the Pokedex, the type chart, it is resistant to grass, bug, ice, not ice, flying and dragon. So it now has 4 resists as opposed to only 2. In particular, the bug resistance is super valuable in this hack when there are very strong bug type moves running around all over the place, especially First Impression, which has very limited counterplay because you can't use Protect versus it, you can't Intimidate it, you can't drop it because it'll always crit. So that's super, super valuable. And that's also just like a strong move that you have to worry about. So that's great. With Guarding Gale and also with Snowboarding, you have awesome other defensive utility on top of your already really good natural bulk. 90, 95, 125 is super tanky with those new resistances, as well as things like Aurora Beam and Featherball, which will always drop the attack and special attack of the opponent by -1. Same goes for Water Pulse and Ominous Wind. You use those in conjunction with Roost. You also have switch moves in the form of Parting Shot, which is very widely distributed in this hack. I'm extremely generous with that move because, first of all, it's a cool-ass move, and I like it. And second of all, it's just good defensive counterplay to deal with, the difficult fights that will be coming up. Yeah, Guarding Gale is great though. With Guarding Gale, you lose a lot of weaknesses, so you're only weak to fire and rock and steel 2 times with Guarding Gale. You lose your electric weakness and your rock weakness goes from 4 to 2 times. So for certain boss fights, you'll use Guarding Gale. For other boss fights, you use Snowboarding. With your newfound 105 base speed, you can get off Aurora Veil very quickly. You can also just use Quick Claw Aurora Veil if the opponent has Taunt or something and you want to get it off first turn. You can't use Light Clay in that case, but it's still good because you have Parting Shot, or you can just abuse it yourself, honestly, if you wanted to. You do have Calm Mind and other useful setup options, and you can Roost off damage, and you are resistant to common priority attacks like First Impression, so you can try to get a Calm Mind sweep going under Aurora Veil if you wanted to. Snowboarding in general is also useful just to have, no miss blizzards. You also have other great coverage moves. Obviously, Freeze Dry is good coverage. You've got Signal Beam, which is useful for certain situations. Shadow Ball, Psychic, Lash Cannon, which is 110 base power. Dazzling Gleam, Focus Blast. All these buffed and changed moves are super nice to have for certain boss fights. Although honestly, I would run Articuno more for like support and also just like a faster, bulky. It's just got really good stats now. It's got the most reworked stats out of the 3 birds. Because Articuno needed it the most, and also just because I think these stats fit really well. Now all 3 of them have a 125 base special attack, which is pretty cool. So they're all equally strong in terms of like base stats at least. Yeah, overall though, I mean, it's got lots of other useful utility moves via level up, like priority 3 PP Whirlwind, Feather Dance. What else is there? Freezer Burn, which will always burn the opponent, and is a 2-turn move, so that can be really great for certain boss fights to burn the opponent and also just deal some big ass damage. It's 180 base power. And you also have Priority Haze, which is good. You have Priority in the form of Gust and Frost Flurry as well. But yeah, that Snowboarding Aurora Veil is huge. Very, very, very useful tool. You can use that with a switch move and go into your allies with that. And obviously snowboarding fits very well. I don't need to explain the logic behind that. These are really simple buffs and changes overall for Articuno. Honestly, I could probably cover all three of the birds in one video, but I don't know if I can fit all three of them on the thumbnail, so I'll just record them separately. Yeah, thank you for listening. Again, check out that Google Sheet, look at the other Pokemon buffs and changes, and most importantly, look at those move buffs and changes. I appreciate you listening this far into the video. Shout out to you, and peace.